Tinseltown is no longer glittering. The movie industry was already foundering because of technological advances in media and entertainment. The latest string of flops pouring out of the studios has signaled that Hollywood's malaise is bad, really bad this time. But it's good for us. The liberal, progressive agenda thrived on big money from media moguls and movie stars. Moviegoers were funding this institution, which invested in candidates and causes against our freedom, our traditional values, our constitution, and our Judeo-Christian culture. There is no better representative of Hollywood's epic downfall than Kevin Spacey. This actor would sing, dance, and take on stage and screen in all kinds of acting exploits. He had earned 2 Academy Awards: Best Supporting Actor in The Usual Suspects, Best Actor in American Beauty, and became artistic director for the Old Vic Theatre. He had quite a repertoire. Then came the allegations of child molestation from Anthony Rapp, which followed the numerous women lining up to single out producer Harvey Weinstein for his repeated and long-term predatory behavior. Spacey issued a press release immediately, apologizing for these acts which he claims that he had never done, but if he had done them, he was probably drunk at the time, and he had been bisexual and now decided to come out as a gay man. Yes, Kevin tried to cover up for past pedophilia perversion by coming out of the closet. The moral swamp of sexual degeneracy is getting worse for Spacey. More actors are coming forward announcing that he had made numerous unwanted advances toward them. Young men who were minors are now recounting more devastating sexual assaults. The consequences have been swift and telling. Spacey has lost his Netflix miniseries House of Cards, which has folded up instead of going into its 6th season. The Emmy Awards was going to have a tribute for him, but that has been cancelled. There was even talk about another extravaganza on his behalf at the Academy Awards. All of that has fallen away. Speaking of Academy Awards, should anyone be surprised that his private life has overwhelmed his public persona with such duplicity in The Usual Suspects? He played a down-and-out cerebral palsy stooge narrating a crime. The detective mocked him, talked down to him, but suspected him of nothing more than being a big nothing. Turns out at the end that Spacey's character was the mastermind for the whole crime, and every aspect of the crime scene he narrated, he had drawn from objects and items in the detective's office. It was a brilliant tour de force for Spacey, a con man who conned law enforcement. Consider how long Spacey the actor got away with his perverse behavior and masterminded his way toward getting away with it. Then, there's American Beauty. The main character, Lester Burnham, played by Spacey, is a bored, empty, repressed suburban father. Right away, all the brazen, Freudian Marxist stereotypes come to the forefront. Married life is bad, sexual license is good. People should be able to sleep with whomever they want to, and there is nothing wrong with that. An explicit example of this occurs when Father Burnham sexually pursues his daughter Jane's best friend Angela. In an early scene, the father falls into lust with this young girl during a cheerleader performance. As early as 1999, the movie industry was glamorizing an adult sleeping with a minor. That film should have been called American Ugly. It revealed Hollywood's broken moral compass spinning out of control, justifying everything contrary to sound moral order. A homosexual couple living down the street from the Burnham family was presented as the only real stable, loving couple. The Army veteran next door with mentally ill wife and drug-dealing son was a closet homosexual. The film showcased adultery, mockery of natural marriage and family, and then glorified the natural yet destructive impulses in human beings. Is this truly high-class or artistic? Did this film remotely reflect reality in any true fashion? No, but in sadistic fashion. This fiction outlined a moral treatise, one of decadence and disdain, as acceptable as long as people feel free or feel good. What is troubling now is that only now do moviegoers and Spacey fans look at this scene and comment, "This makes my skin crawl." Why didn't this adult minor lust make Hollywood elites sick to their stomachs 20 years ago? Nevertheless, Hollywood's left-wing elites thought this film was a beauty, and they awarded Spacey the Best Actor Oscar. The film also won Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. Today, lo and behold, we now see in this film what has burst forth in Spacey's real life for everyone to see. He had perversions within him, which had been spilling out for quite some time. The first accusations against him had occurred 13 years prior to winning his 2nd Oscar. Should we be surprised as this long history? Not if we recognize the fact that Spacey's enabling peers was celebrating sexual abuse and perversion on that stage. His acceptance speech highlighted significant premonitions of what we have learned. His first line, "This is the highlight of my day. I hope it is not all downhill from here." Indeed, it would go downhill from there. His work titled Toward Less Popular Fare He took over artistic direction in a London theatre, where he would prey on young men and boys. He would then claim in his speech that viewers would see the good in Lester, even though he did so much. He thanks his mother for being his date. Even then, people suspected that he was gay. Notice also that Spacey never mentioned his father, who was an abusive Nazi, literally. Spacey's fall from glitterati preeminence should not shock us, ultimately. How could anyone look at trash like American Beauty and call it award-winning Hollywood, and the same coven of creeps and greedy moguls enabled and covered up for Spacey's behavior for decades to follow?